Hey guys, welcome back to the another video tutorial of the Android application development. Here in this particular tutorial, I am going to talk about the SQLite database, that how you can build an SQLite database for several categories, how you can insert the data into the SQLite database tables, and how you will retrieve all the information from the SQLite database, and also how you can update this that particular table while doing the programming through the application. So here in this particular tutorial I am going to take the student information from the user. So there will be a field, there will be a class of the students, and I will take the student information, let's say the enrollment number, then the name and the phone number of the particular student, and ID will be automatically generated. So this is what we will define in the when we define the database, then it will set as the property that is auto incremented. But for deleting that particular entry of the student or updating that particular entry of the student, the ID will be used. So that is how, that is why I have taken the ID over here also. So mainly, first of all, you have to define the student class in your particular mainly you have to define the student class in your Java file. So create a student class over there and take the four properties. That the properties are like the integer ID will be into the integer format, then the enrollment number, which is also into the integer format, then the name and the phone number, which we will take as the string, because it will be manipulated with that particular data type. So that is the string value for that one. Then we will define a particular empty constructor for the student, which we will call whenever we create the instance of that particular student. And next, the constructor which contain all the four parameters. So we will pass, so we can pass this we can call this particular constructor when we are going to update the student information. And the constructor with the three parameters, which does not contain the ID information, that we will create when we will insert the particular student information into the particular database. So this is what the three constructor that you have to define. And after that, for all the properties, the getters and the setters are defined with the help of the alter insert. In the Android Studio, if you will click on the alter insert, then it will open this particular type of a video, and it will let you create the lot of the information automatically. So if you will select the getters and the setters, so it will just give you the list of the particular fields that are remain to be described in the getters and setters, because here all the information, all the getters and setters are already defined. So I cannot create that particular getter and setter, but I will show you that by deleting this one. If I want to insert the getters, then it will give me the list of the particular methods, and for each and every method I can define the getters over here. So these way the getters will be defined automatically with the help of the Android Studio. So first of all, you have to create the student class, which contain the four parameters: the ID, enrollment number, name and the phone number. And make sure you will use the same syntax of these particular properties in our database handler class. So because we are going to pass this particular instance of the student with all the properties to the database handler class, which will handle the database operation. So here is the database handler class, which extends the SQLite open helper class. The parent class is that one, which will give you the ability to create the database tables in the SQLite format. So this is what the things that you have to define. First of all, you have to define the database version, which will be the private static final integer. So you have to define the database version equal to 1. Then the database name will be there, which is also a private static final string. The name of the database will be the student. Then the table name will be there, which you have to define over here as the private static final string. The table student details, that is what the student details, it is the name of the particular table. Then you have to define the particular columns of this particular table. So this is what the columns of that particular table, that is the ID, enrollment number, name and the phone number. And I have defined it with the particular final string, so I can refer it into the further processing. So this is what the few things that you have to implement whenever you will open the when you will create the SQLite open helper class. Now you have to define one particular constructor which contain the context as the particular parameter argument, and the super method of this parent class of this particular DB handler will be called upon, which contains the context of the activity from which the DB handler will be called, the name of the particular database, the null reference, and the version of the particular database. Next, the onCreate method that you have to override, so which is useful for creating the table. So in the onCreate method, whenever the DB handler class will be instantiated, it will create the onCreate method, and it will create the particular database. If that particular data table is not present over there, so it will not call each and every time when your application is startup. It will only call out if the table is not there. So first of all, you have to create a string. The string equal to the name of the string will be the create student details table is there. Then the query that you have to write in like this manner, the create table, the name of this particular table which we have defined previously over there, the student details is the name of that particular table, and the bracket, the opening bracket, the parameters that you have to define is a key ID, that is the column name ID, which will be the integer primary key, comma, key enrollment number, which is the column name equal to enrollment number, it is a text, the name, which is also a text, key phone number, which is also a text, in the form of the SQLite table. So these are what the parameters that you have to set, and make sure you will put the comma at the end of the each and every column, but not in the last column. Okay, and make sure you will close this parenthesis over here also. So this will be the string of this particular table for the creating the student details table, and you can also create the many more tables with the help of the different strings if you will define the different strings over there. And now with the help of the DB instance of the SQLite database, you have to just call the execute SQL statement or execute SQL method from over here, which will contain the parameter as a string that we have defined earlier. So you have to just call this particular method with the help of this particular string, which will create the table for you whenever the DB handler instance will be created. So onCreate method will create this particular table for you. Now this is the method how you can create the particular table. Now when you will upgrade your particular database with the help of the DB handler, then what will happen? So on upgrade method, you have to pass the SQLite database instance over here. You have to define the older version of the database, and you have to define the newer version of the database. So what will happen on the upgrade of this database? You have to just drop all the table if those tables are exist, and you have to create again all the tables with the new parameters. So there is a one simple trick is there: drop the older tables if those tables are exist. So you have to call the db.execute SQL drop table if exist, and you have to pass the table name over here, and after that you have to just call the onCreate method, which is already defined over here. So you can just drop the table if those tables are if those tables are exist, and you have to just create the tables again by calling the onCreate method. So this is what the two things that you have to do for the DB handler. So this will create the table for you. Now what we are going to do, we have just created the student class over here, and we have created the DB handler class over here. So which kind of information that I am going to take from the user? So the information that I have defined over here, the ID, enrollment number, name, and the phone number. But I am going to take only the enrollment number, name, and the phone number, because I have defined the ID as the integer primary key, which is auto incremented. Okay, so I does not need to take this particular ID from the user. So this is the form of the student. Yeah, this is the form of the students which I have designed to take the information from the user. So first of all, the enrollment number will be there, then the name of the student, then the phone number of the students will be there. So this will be the information that the student will give me, and I will pass this data to the DB handler class. So this is what the method. And for the main activity, I have defined the 4 buttons over here. That is, the add student will open this particular form as a dialog, in which the user will input those information, and on clicking the submit, the data will be passed back to the db handler class. Okay, this is what the scenario that I have implemented, but I have used the alert dialog fragment concept over here. You can easily implement this concept with the help of the different activity, and the activity layout or activity theme you can set to the dialog activity in the manifest file. So the activity will be look like as a dialog whenever you will open your particular this form. So this is what the student add student form over here. And the next, the delete student form, where I will just take the id of that particular student, which will be the id of that particular student information of which you want to delete, the student information that you want to delete. So you have to pass the id of that particular student, and on the update method, in the update method that I have displayed this particular form to the user, where the user have to pass on the id of that particular student, the new enrollment number if the enrollment number has been changed, the name of that particular student, and the updated phone number. So these are the information which is displayed to the user when the user will click on this particular different buttons, the add student, update information, or the delete details on these particular three forms. So these three forms will be displayed to the user, and the show details method is there, which will retrieve all the information of the students from the SQLite table that we have created, that we are going to create in the SQLite database. So all the information, student information data, will be cached up over here in the list of the student, and which is displayed over here in the below text view. So that is what the procedure, and this is what the initial setup that you have to do. And I will talk about this all the other procedure, that how you can define the add student, in my next video tutorial. So make sure you will do the configuration about this particular application setup, and link to the next video tutorial to get the more of this to get the more knowledge about this practical. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to my channel to get the more knowledge about the Android application development.